busy come late August.
I know
early
that,
September.
right? Good for you.
All right.
Good. All right.
Thank
Thanks
you
a
so
lot.
much for calling. I
No,
appreciate it.
no. I was talking to Megan, and she
Yeah.
said, "Oh, Brian does things
I
like
work on
that."
mostly teachers' houses.
Oh, well,
It's so easy.
I was going to say,
They trust me. They
word
know
of
me.
mouth.
So yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. So that's perfect. All
Good.
right.
Good.
Thanks a
Thank you
lot.
very much.
Thank you, everybody. Apologize for the delay. Welcome to the Monday, May 19th, 2025 Board of Education monthly business meeting. I would invite you all to please stand and join me in reciting the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, the first item up for business here is personnel actions.
I would like to pull the vote on the athletic director's tenure. I think everybody who's voting no, the public should know.
We have a motion to separate out the item, to separate out the athletic director tenure vote. Do we have a second of that motion? We have a second. All in favor of that motion to separate that vote? Can I have any ayes?
Aye.
Sorry, can we just raise hands? I want to, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So we will take that vote first. All in favor of the personnel action to accept the superintendent's recommendation to give tenure to our athletic director? Aye?
Aye.
Do I see 9? Okay, we have 9 ayes to grant tenure to athletic director Jason Semo. All other personnel actions, can I have all the ayes to approve our other tenure candidates as well as the other personnel actions for the month? Aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Yeah, we're going to
Sorry.
vote on, we separated out one item. We're going to vote on the remainder of the item.
I
So
think there was a slight conversation, so
yeah,
I
yeah.
think.
So we're going to vote, we voted on one person. We're going to vote on the remaining, forgive me, I don't know the exact number.
You already voted on the one person?
We voted on that
And
person.
I'm abstaining on that. I didn't catch you before.
Okay, we're going
I'm sorry, I didn't catch
so
you.
we'll have 8 yes and 1 abstain.
Right. Yes.
Linda and John, if you can reflect that, please. For the remaining candidates and the remaining personnel actions, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Christian, would you like to vote? Okay, 9-0 on that. So thank you, everybody. That is tenure, as well as the other personnel actions for the month. We went a little out of order at this meeting. Typically, we start our meeting with public comment. As I read the disclaimer before public comment, and I see why most of you are sitting here in this room, you will understand why I moved that vote before public comment. Recognition of visitors for any item on the agenda or for any other concern. The Board of Education welcomes comments from the public. Each person wishing to speak is asked to speak into the microphone, identify themselves, and respectively limit their comments to 3 minutes. 2 opportunities to speak are available. 1 early in the meeting, which will be limited to 30 minutes. 1 at the end of the meeting. Each speaker may address the board only once at the opening and the beginning. Please remember there will be no cross dialogue between speakers and between members of the board. All speakers are to conduct themselves in a civil manner. Obscene language, libelous statements, threats of violence, statements advocating racial, religious, or other forms of prejudice will not be tolerated. Persons wishing to discuss matters involving individual district personnel or students should present their comments and or concerns to the superintendent during regular business hours. So let me repeat that. Persons wishing to discuss matters involving individual district personnel or students should present their comments and or concerns to the superintendent during regular business hours. So we cannot take individual comments, either positive or negative, on individual district personnel. I think a lot of you have strong opinions on that, which is why we took that action first. We do welcome comments, but I will just say that you cannot make comments either positive or negative about specific district personnel. With that, I open the microphone to public comment.
David.
Thank you, David. John Hines, president of the Cornwall Central Teachers Association. I'd like to take a moment to remind everybody, and I know I have to address my comments to the board, but we have a budget vote tomorrow. If this budget doesn't pass, that's $1.4 million that we might need to possibly look at in our budget. We're already losing 4, maybe 5 teaching positions in this budget, so I encourage everybody to get out, vote, support our school district, support our students, and support public education going forward. So please vote yes tomorrow at Cornwall Central Middle School. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment, Mr. Hines. Mr. Ray?
My name is Mark Ray. I'm an assistant principal for the last 15 years in the district at both the middle school and the high school. I've never spoken to the board at any of these meetings, but I thought it was important tonight to thank you publicly for the support of everybody that received tenure tonight. It's something that all of our employees work hard for. I want to thank the students for coming out and showing the support of all of the people that received tenure tonight. So thank you to the board for showing your support for our community, our students, and making sure that we continue to have great leadership in this district. So thank you.
Thank you for that comment, Mr. Ray. Anybody else like to take the microphone for a public comment? All right. With that, the next item on our agenda are student representative reports. I see that Ava is not here, so Madeline, please take it away.
Okay, so we're going to start with the good news from COH. The PTO held its annual talent show on Friday, April 25th. There were 25 acts involving more than 35 students and 1 teacher performance. Each act was extremely polished and the audience was thoroughly entertained. Thank you to Mr. and Mrs. Landstoy for putting the show together. The 4th grade students visited the middle school in person on Thursday, May 1st. The middle school administration and members of the counseling department greeted them with open arms. The students participated in a scavenger hunt that brought them around the building with the current 5th grade students. It was a great introduction to life in the middle school. Thank you to Ms. Palumbo and her staff. On May 13th, our COH and Willow Avenue 4th graders performed at their spring concert at CCHS. That morning, they traveled to CCHS for their first and only combined rehearsal and then performed for the 3rd graders. That evening, our band, orchestra, and chorus wowed family, friends, and the community again with fantastic playing and singing. Teacher Appreciation Week was held from May 5th through May 9th. Thank you to the PTO for putting together a theme for each day. For example, on Tuesday, the students were asked to bring in a flower or a picture of a flower to show their appreciation. Needless to say, each classroom had an array of beautiful flowers on display. The week culminated in a wonderful luncheon. On May 9th, the COH PTO hosted their annual Spring Fling. 4th grade students from all 3 elementary schools gathered at COH. Despite the weather, the students had a wonderful time dancing to great music and eating awesome snacks. Again, thank you to the PTOs from all 3 elementary schools for helping with the event. Back in February, 2 first grade and 1 second grade teacher partnered with the Cornwall embryology program. Each classroom was supplied with an incubator, a fertilized chicken egg that were dropped off at COH on April 22nd, 2025. The students learned about the incubation process and completed learning packets along the way. During the week of May 5th through 9th, the COH classes welcomed 10 baby chicks into the world. The students were able to watch a baby chick hatch from an egg in real time. Some of the names of the chicks included Earl, Lucy, Ricky, Ethel, Oreo, Walter, and Pepperoni. Representatives from the Cornwall Cooperative Extension picked up the young chickens on May 19th, and they will be distributed to farms in Orange County. Next, we have the Willow Good News for May. We celebrated the Teacher Appreciation Week last week. Willow teachers were shown lots of love and appreciation from our students, families, and PTO. A big thank you for all that they do and to our PTO for making everyone feel so special. The 4th grade spring concert with 4th graders from COH and Willow took place on May 13th. The students wowed us with their musical talents, and each ensemble put together an amazing performance. During the month of May, Ms. Johnson and Ms. Subi will be visiting our 3rd grade music classes across the district to introduce all the band and orchestra instruments to the students. In addition, 3rd graders will have the opportunity on Tuesday, June 3rd to attend the instrument petting zoo held at the high school at 7 p.m. There, students can see the instruments up close while learning more about them from our high school band and orchestra helpers. During the rest of June, they will have the opportunity to meet with Miss Johnson and Miss Subi to try various band and orchestra instruments before making their choice of which instrument to play in the fall. Our fourth graders also visited the middle school this month. While they went on a scavenger hunt and got to ask some professional middle schoolers all of their questions. They are definitely ready for middle school. Third graders took a walk on the wild side when they went to the Bronx Zoo. They explored the zoo and learned about different animals and their habitats. The sensational second grade took a walking trip to the Cornwall Historical Society. Students enjoyed exploring artifacts of Cornwall's history and visiting Town Hall. We are looking forward to a fun and busy June as we count down to the last day of school. Next is Lee Road good news. What a beautiful month May has been. With warming weather, blooming trees, and fresh air all around, our students have been busy exploring and making lasting memories as we head into the final stretch of the school year. Our fourth graders took a big step as they visited Cornwall Central Middle School to get a first look at what's in store for fifth grade. They had a great time meeting Ms. Palumbo, touring the building, and asking thoughtful questions about the exciting changes ahead. It's clear they're beginning to look forward to this next chapter with confidence and enthusiasm. Our kindergartners also took their own adventure, heading to the Bear Mountain Zoo. The trip offered a perfect blend of learning and outdoor fun as students explored native wildlife and connected what they've been learning in the classroom to the natural world around them. It was a wonderful opportunity for hands-on discovery and the time spent enjoying nature with friends and teachers. Second graders had a blast attending Education Day with the Hudson Valley Renegades at Heritage Financial Park. Cheering on the home team while participating in a day built around fun and learning was a real highlight for our students and for the staff who accompanied them. On May 14th, our band, orchestra, and chorus students performed musical selections for the spring concert. The fourth graders performed for our staff and students in the morning and then headed to CCHS for the evening show. All of our students, musicians, did a fantastic job. As we wrap up the month, we are now looking forward to some of our favorite year-end events. The kindergarten celebration picnic, field days, and of course the fourth grade moving up ceremony. There's still so much to enjoy and celebrate as we close out another incredible school year. Next is the middle school. Incoming CCMS fifth graders had an opportunity to visit the middle school in May. Students were matched up with current fifth grade students for a scavenger hunt around the middle school, learned about classes, programs, and activities. The students then had an opportunity to meet some professional middle school students and ask them questions about CCMS. Incoming fifth grade parents are welcome to the middle school with an orientation. Parents learned all about CCMS and adolescent development. Mr. Quick, our school counselor, shared the role of school counselors for our fifth grade students and how they will be assisting our students in their transition to CCMS. Congratulations to all of our scientists who participated in the STEAM Expo. It was an amazing district event. Many thanks to Ms. Brooks and Ms. Borland for all your hard work putting together this event. Every hallway in the high school was packed with amazing displays and demonstrations. Lastly, we have the high school good news. This year's junior prom was held at Bear Mountain, and it turned out to be a pretty good time. The juniors got dressed up and had a night to remember, dancing and hanging out with friends. Big thanks to the junior class council for putting it all together and everyone who showed up to make it a fun night. On May 1st, CCHS celebrated Decision Day for the class of 2025. Seniors wore their college shirts and gathered to take a photo showing off the next steps in their journey. Dragon Day was a great event, especially for the younger kids. Organized by the Athletic Leadership Council, it was a chance for elementary and middle school students to try out a bunch of different sports. From soccer to tennis, the day was all about getting them active and excited about sports. It was just totally student-led, which made it even cooler to see everyone come together to make it happen. Thank you to Mr. Massimo and Mr. DeBold for letting us do this. Our AP testing has been going on this month, and a lot of students have been hitting the books hard to get ready. The exams can be tough, but it's great to see so many students pushing through to challenge themselves academically. Friday, May 2nd, the brand new Cornwall dance team had their first showcase at the high school. It was filled with amazing performance choreographed by members of the dance team. May 15th was Mental Health Action Day, and students had the chance to take a break and focus on their well-being. In the lobby, students could stop by to make their own stress balls using balloons and stuffing them with sand. Looking ahead, we've got spring concerts coming up in the next couple of weeks. Our musicians and singers have been practicing, and it'll be great to see all their hard work pay off. Make sure to come out and support their performances. It's always nice to see what everyone's been working on. The annual string showcase is also happening May 19th, where string students from elementary school through high school will come together to perform pieces they've been working on. And then at the end, we have the good news from the CCSD music department. Over the past few months, students from Cornwall have been preparing instrumental and vocal solos to be performed for a New York State adjudicator at a NISMA solo festival. CCSD attended festivals at Monroe, Woodbury, and the Mount Academy over the past month. At the festivals, the students receive an evaluation and score based on their solo performances, plus scales and sight reading. All of our students did extremely well, and several of them got perfect scores. There were 14 fourth grader beginner instrumentalists, 67 musicians from the middle school, and 52 musicians from the high school. This is an opportunity to go above and beyond in their musical journey, and we couldn't be prouder for these young musicians.
Thank you, Madeline. I noticed you said in there that one of the elementary schools went to the minor league ballpark across the river there and had a fun day filled with activities. But I can speak personally, and I tell you that one first grader in COH, the highlight of his day was the hot dogs. So, next item on our business is the superintendent's update. Mr. Dade.
In the interest of time, I'm going to pass.
Next item is the president's update. That would be me. Two quick updates. Number one, please vote tomorrow, 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. at the middle school. Next item, just to give a brief update on our superintendent search. As you know, Mr. Dade is leaving us. We have received proposals from multiple search firms, and we are going to discuss those and choose a firm to search for the next superintendent. Next item on our agenda is the consent agenda. Consent agenda permits the Board of Education to make more effective use of its time by adopting a single motion to cover those relatively routine matters which are included. Any member of the board who wishes to discuss individually a particular piece of business on the consent agenda may so indicate, and that item will be considered and voted on separately, thus preserving the right of all board members to be heard on any issue. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the following consent agenda as submitted by the Superintendent of Schools, items 2 through 12. Can I have a motion
So moved.
and a second? Would anybody like to pull any individual item 2 through 12? Christian?
I would like number 12.
Anybody else?
Jim?
Yes?
I might need, because I see the titles, but maybe don't understand fully on the addendums which one. So I know I'm pulling one, but I think the numeration has changed since I last looked at it, so
What's the topic? And I'll tell you what it is on my paper.
I believe we were district office, but they're making sure.
Number 7.
Okay, then also number 7.
Also number 7. Number 12 and number 7.
Yes.
Anybody else? Okay, then can I have a vote on items 2 through 6 and 8 through 11? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstains? Carl?
Yes, yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay. Christian, we'll take it in numerical order, number 7.
So I have a comment on this, and that about the rate of growth of central office salaries. And as members around here know,
I think he's
I'm not going to talk about any person's name.
making a point about salaries in general, growth in the county versus our district. Over time, nothing to do with this year specific, if I understand where you're going, Christian?
You do.
Yeah.
So let me start. The New York State Department of Education, since the mid-90s, has collected data, and there's administrative pay disclosures that have been made. And part of that was done, and why it's done every single year, is because the concern, as you see often in the press, there's usually a story where it's OMG, how much central office administrators are being made in this county or the region. And I often feel like it is a bad story because it doesn't appreciate what central office administrators do, that they work well beyond the 9 to 5 hours, that there are many things that they make that are out of view and therefore not appreciated. And they make a lot of money because it is a very hard job, if not necessarily a difficult job. The point about it is the pay is high. But my concern is it's not just the level of what people are paid, but it is the rate of increase. And as I've said to my colleagues on this, that the rate of increase in Cornwall has been significantly faster over the last 4 budget cycles than pretty much most of the Hudson Valley. And so, as I want, I just have a short little diagram on this. And I know we have a math teacher in the room, and I apologize for my bad bell distribution. So the average increase in the Hudson Valley over the last 4 cycles has been about 2.7%. And the median increase has been about 2.5%. And Cornwall's has been significantly higher, about 49% higher. And if you look at that, if you look at the average of 2.68%, the concern is that the median is lower than the mean, suggesting that overall, most are below that average. But in Cornwall, what's disturbing is that not only is it just higher, but there has been no variation over the last few years. That the standard deviation for Cornwall is about 11 times less than the standard deviation for the entire region. And so what you have is a distribution that looks like this, where the kurtosity, or the peakedness of Cornwall, shows that there hasn't been a lot of variation, and this is the comment about the board. Because the board is that makes the decision, and this shows that there's been little variation over the last 4 years, not simply that it's been high, but it hasn't been scrutinized in the way that I think it should be. So what is the difference in terms of what the rate of increase is? If you index that over the last 4 years, you would see that the median district increased by about 10.6, the median district increased by about 10.6%. The average district increased by about 11.1%, and in Cornwall, it increased by 16.9%. And that means that what happens over that time is effectively a 5.8 increase greater than the mean, and a 6.34 greater increase than the median of the professional peers. And I'm not sure, at some point, that becomes important money and it compromises some of our programs. And so I'm going to be voting no on this.
I have a comment, Mr. President.
Please.
I would also point out that we've had, well, I won't say we've had, but I would also point out that we probably, most of us at the table, recognize that our central office and our district administrators are fewer than many other districts. So the totality perhaps isn't the same, maybe in individual positions. I, for one, would advocate for a deputy position for the assistant superintendent of instruction. So if we were to increase our central office, then perhaps we could, at some point down the road, have that level be a little more, when people aren't doing so much work, as you aptly pointed out. Thank you for that information, Mr. Brunelli.
I can add on to that, Jim. I think put a finer point on what Tiffany just said. Our administrators, because they're just the headcount in the central administration office is so much lower per student than it is in a lot of other districts. They take on responsibilities that sometimes fall outside of their job description, but that's not really the point of my comment. I just want to take the opportunity to say that I think that they do an extraordinary job and have done, particularly this year, when tasked with one of our biggest goals was to settle the CCTA contract in time, and they did that successfully. And I wish that we could give them more than what is being approved tonight, but if that's the best that we can do, then I'd be happy to offer that. And I think that the message to these very important members of our team should be clear that we do value their contributions to this district, not only over the long term, but in this year particularly.
Thank you, Brendan. Bass, I'll ask you to please just this conversation could easily go off the rails. We've had 3 comments that have just, let's be mindful that we don't discuss individual personnel contracts. Let's keep it nice and general.
Thank you, Jim. I'm gonna abstain based on my position of the economic situation we're going through right now. And based on my vote on the budget, that's gonna be no. I indicated that from the very beginning. My position from the very beginning on the budget was that I appreciate the hard work everybody put behind presenting the budget, but I asked everybody to go back to the drawing board to reshuffle the numbers to make it in a way that would not increase the tax levy. And I am going to vote no. Related to that is on this specific resolution, I'm going to abstain.
Thank you, Bass. With all proper attribution to former board member Matt Bannon, I will ditto Brendan's comment. All in favor on item 7? Aye.
Aye.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All opposed? Christian. All abstentions? Bass. Motion carried. Thank you for that. Item 12, approval of Superintendent Dade's resignation. It is hereby resolved that the Board of Education hereby accepts the resignation of Terry Dade as Superintendent of Schools effective June 30th, 2025. Christian.
Most people in education have a clause in their contract, which means about notice and how many days notice before you can move and take another job. And I know this because very well personally because I applied for a job and the district held me because contractually that was the obligation. And I went into the hospital when my daughter was born, the employee of one school district, and left the hospital, the employee of another school district, because they held me to my contract. And the reason for this is because if teachers could leave in the middle of the year, this would put a lot of people in a bad position because classes would not be covered. And what would happen is that you would have classes and curriculums where you start a year with one person and another, and that would be a detriment to the students in that class. And Mr. Dade's contract, I believe there was a 90-day notice. Mr. Dade announced that his final day was June 30th, which was much shorter than 90 days. Before requesting that of the board approving that, and I think that just says that contracts should be applied to everyone. And I wonder why that was not the case. And that was when put out onto district communications before any decision on that. And that's a rhetorical question, and that's my comment.
May I? I'm not going to take the bait. I just want to offer another perspective as the Chief Human Resource Officer at a company. There are often times where people do not necessarily have to abide by the contract, despite it being a contract, because it works for everybody in play. I understand, Christian, your point that it was announced before perhaps the entire board heard it, but it is not unusual, and it is a natural time for a superintendent to leave, and it actually is less disruptive, and often that's what at least HR teams will look for, is what is the least disruptive to an organization. So I hear you. I just want to offer another perspective.
Thank you. All in favor on number 12? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I guess that was 9, so no opposed, no abstain. 12 in favor. Thank you. Next item is recognition of visitors. Any takers? Closing comments from board members. Richard.
All right, thank you. I'm just going to keep it short tonight because it's been a long night already. But I just urge everyone to get out and vote tomorrow. No matter how you vote, just please get out, take a few minutes and vote tomorrow. Thank you and have a good night.
Thank you. Christian.
So one thing I've been reflecting on this week is the word idiot. And idiot in parlance is someone who perhaps lacks in intelligence, but that's not the original meaning of the word. The word comes from ancient Greek, and it meant someone who was selfish or self-centered, or someone who was not civically minded. And the reason why it has its common meaning is because an idiot is someone who doesn't understand the basic truth that we take care of other people and we consider other people in our decisions. And I think it's an interesting concept because the idea is that the core of, let's say, lacking knowledge or stupidity is the fact that we don't understand how much we are tied to other people. And public education is one of these things where we get to show that we are not idiots. It shows that we care about what happens to other people. It shows that we, can show that not just simply that we care about education and what we learn in class, but we recognize how we are mutually dependent upon each other. About a month ago, successfully, we voted on the library budget. It had a tax levy increase of over 6%. And I don't think anyone batted an eye, and it passed with 70 or so percent of the vote. And I just think that tomorrow we have another chance to kind of make the same statement as a community, and I encourage everyone to not be an idiot.
I'm good today, Jim.
Thank you. Carl will pass. Eleonora?
Just reminds everyone to get out and vote.
Brendan?
Congratulations to all the tenure recipients, and 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. tomorrow. It's Cornwall Central Middle School. Bring a buddy. That's it.
Tiffany?
Yes, congratulations to all the tenure recipients. What a proud day for you and your families. I commend our board president, who had a very difficult job this past week. Won't get into why, but I commend the way he handled himself, and I commend my fellow board members for our open, honest, sometimes heated conversation and debate. And I appreciate each of you, and thank you for allowing me to be a member of this body. I will also say that I was a no on this budget. I support and continue to support the CCTA contracts, all of the contracts with our personnel. I think that the tax levy is too high. I think it's higher than it's been in many, many, many years. I know people disagree with me, but that's my position. I also would encourage people to vote no on the budget tomorrow and ask for an alternative budget. It doesn't mean the world ends if you vote no. If this budget doesn't pass, you will be likely be presented with another one. However, I will also say that it ended up being that we got more state aid than we anticipated. So there's actually more money coming to us than we originally thought. So that would further support my position. But again, congratulations to all of those receiving tenure.
Okay, I'd like to remind maybe everybody that we're not a private school. Private schools collect tuition. Private schools receive endowment, and I'm talking millions. Private schools receive donations, and again, I'm talking millions. We're not a private school. We rely on our taxpayers. I want to reiterate that something I mentioned before, even in publication, I think you've seen it on paper or online, that I do represent all of our stakeholders. When you talk about budget, number one stakeholder to have in mind is the taxpayer. Taxpayers fund more than half of our budget, 60%, I didn't do the math, maybe 65%. Number three here, that in my 4 points, I always like to enumerate my points, is that I did vote yes in supporting all the new contracts, teaching and non-teaching staffs. So when I say I'm voting no on the budget, doesn't mean that I'm not supporting teachers. I already supported the new contracts for the teachers and for the non-teaching staff. And I was, as I mentioned in the previous meeting, I was like very happy with how fast the negotiation went. Maybe a time record it was. We reached an agreement. I'm in full support of that. So I wish nobody would make that kind of, maybe a mistake in assuming that I'm not supporting the teacher. I asked the team who drafted the budget together, to go back to the drawing board, reshuffle the numbers. I mentioned kind of, two instances where, for instance, for those who haven't heard me yet talking about it, there's a budget line on the budget giving the Board of Education $28,000 to go on conferences and to support professional society membership. I don't want that. Take that $28,000 and put it somewhere else where it is needed, right? That's one example. There's another example. I'm not going to keep you the whole night here. Go back to the drawing board and redo your calculations and present us a budget that doesn't increase the tax levy. I don't want to go, I wish I can go to 0 tax levy increase. I was able to go, willing to go to 1.9, right? But that's fine. I'm gonna finish with this. I would appreciate my community's trust in me, and I would definitely appreciate your vote tomorrow. Thank you.
I'm just digesting that. I've said in the past that our students are like the state champs of everything they go after, whether that's the arts, the academics, BOCES programs. Our students really, I was going to say something inappropriate. Our students really shine bright. And that doesn't come from nothing. That comes from years of pouring into people, of a community that really cares, and it doesn't come free. I want to be clear, I don't take it lightly that we are seeking an increase, but it is the necessary step to make sure that we stay a vibrant and healthy district. I believe it is a slippery slope. You go and you put yourself in a deficit potentially this year, and then you're digging out forever. My early college years, I put myself in a deficit early, and I was digging out forever. So, and this is a much bigger budget than I had. And so I want you to know that as a board member, I don't believe any of my colleagues take it lightly what we're asking, but I want you to know that we have done our due diligence, and we do believe, those of us that are in favor, that it's necessary, and it will help prepare us to be better positioned in the future. It is not done with no regard for the community. So I encourage you to get out and vote tomorrow, and I look forward to seeing you there bright and early. Yeah, I'm getting a little spring fever. I encourage everyone to get outside and get some sunshine and fresh air. It's good for everyone.
Jim, just a point of order. There was a question about, are we going back into executive session to discuss the remaining items?
Boy,
Did I hit?
aren't we excited?
Do we read our mind? Or no? I was asking what your plan was.
You missed
before.
it because it hasn't happened yet, but it's about to happen. I know we all love executive sessions. After my closing comment, I'm going to ask for an executive session to further discuss the issues which we did not have time to do. I don't think it is, I think we can be quick. There are some quick decision points that we need to make regarding process. I don't think we need to make any decisions. I think we need to make some decisions regarding some process points, as well as try to calendar a special meeting to further discuss. Before I make that motion for a special meeting, which again, I want to be very brief, I was not going to make a comment because I had my president's comment earlier, and that I thought stood on its own. Just wanted to read a section here since we've decided to relitigate the budget, which is up for vote tomorrow, which we voted on 2-3 meetings ago, confirmed again at the budget hearing. Section 3.25 of the NYSBA, the New York State School Boards Association, new school board member handbook, section 3.25. I think this might be helpful information for our board as a whole, and if we have 2 new board members, it might be something that they want to hear. What if I disagree with a board decision? If you don't agree with the decision the board has made, you may express your position during the meeting. However, even if you disagree with the final outcome of a vote, principles of good governance dictate you should support the board's final decision. The time to disagree is during the discussion and through your vote, which is public record. If you are asked about the decision, explain why the board voted the way that it did. You may say why and how you voted. However, you should do it in a way that does not undermine the board's majority decision. As long as your comments remain factual and are not critical of the board's action, you are showing support for the decision. So just wanted to read that. Obviously, everybody has...
Mr. President, that's obviously directed at me,
No, it's directed
particularly
at-
being
it's
one of the
directed at you.
two new members. You
It's directed at
specifically
you
said
and Beth.
for the two new members who may
you're-
not know.
I
I did my
apologize
board training,
to potential
and I'm
new members.
aware of it. I disagree with it. I have a
You-
First Amendment right
you
to
absolutely do.
explain that I disagree with it, and I encourage you all to vote no for the
Okay.
reasons that I stated, and I'll put it on social media
Mr.
as well.
Cragen, I know that you're talking about me, so I will take that and say I understand it and I'm sorry.
No, he already
No.
said Tiffany and Bass. He already said Tiffany and Bass.
Yeah.
Jim, Mr. President,
not-
I
I'm-
disagree with
I'm
you.
only
I disagree
getting
with the interpretation of what you read because that is not the intent of what the text you read means. I'm entitled to my First Amendment yesterday, today, and tomorrow. I talk whatever I think is right, and I just did that. I urge everybody to vote no on the budget, so the team that wrote the budget, put the budget together, go back and redo the homework.
Is it okay?
No, you're-
I just wanted to say, as a teacher and as someone who worked for the district, I'm encouraging people, my parents, students, teachers, whoever's out there, to please vote yes. Because what we're doing is for the good of the students, for the good of the school district. So I just wanted to give a different opinion of what's being said.
Can I have I will make a motion to go into executive session. No action will be taken afterwards. We've concluded all of our business for the night for those of you in the audience. Can I have a second for an executive session? Second. All in favor of going into executive session?
I
Aye. Thank you.